Cheers to that, baby. Drew, you're the man, brother. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I guess we got to start with the Hall of Fame. It just happened.
Yeah, it's fresh.
Dan Fouts, that's how you found out.
Yeah. That knock came about 3 weeks ago. It was a great setup,
Supercharger himself.
I know. So I share a birthday with my oldest son, Dalen.
Okay.
So he's one of my 30th birthday. So we had a birthday weekend. It's always Martin Luther King weekend. So really the weekend's about him, just doing whatever he wants to do. So then Monday rolls around, and my daughter, who's 11, is like the light of my life, just says, Dad, I want to take you out to eat. I'm like, oh,
Nice.
oh, this is the greatest. So my wife, my daughter, they're ready to go. 5 o'clock, be ready. We're going to take you out to eat. So I'm ready, and the boys are messing around doing something upstairs. I'm like, boys, let's go. You know, Rylan wants to take Dad out to eat. Let's go. And they're messing around. So now I'm starting to get a little fired up. I'm like, yo, Rylan said 5 o'clock. We're leaving the house. I'm like about to get in the car and leave them all, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, here's the knock at the door. And I'm like, who's knocking at the door now? We're trying to leave. You know, my daughter set this up. I just want this to be special for her. And then there's Mr. Supercharger Dan Fouts himself in the gold jacket.
That is incredible.
Welcoming me into the Hall of Fame. So they had me. It was a good setup.
What happens when you feel that? Like, do you like think about your career? Like, you think about, like, I don't, it's got to be crazy in that moment, right?
Yeah, it was, like I said, like my mind was totally elsewhere. So it was such a shock. And I mean, obviously cameras, you know, and NFL films and everything too. And then all of a sudden it's the rush of emotion. And, just thinking about getting to that moment and just everything that's transpired. And I immediately look at my family. And I mean, honestly, I played so much longer than I ever thought I would. And in many cases, I did it because I wanted my kids to remember what Dad did.
So cool, man.
And then I'm looking at them and, you know, I see their eyes welling up and just, you know, lost it.
That's awesome, brother.
Man.
So cool.
Beautiful family. Walk on to Hall of Famer, brother. Not many can say that, dog. I only know one that may have a chance.
You shut up. So what's the process now? Have you already thought about like what picture you're going to use for your bust? Like, who's going to introduce you?
I know who's going to introduce me, but I can't say because I want to make that special. But it's you start thinking about those. I mean, literally each moment since then has gotten me a little closer to reality. You know, at that time it's still so surreal, and you just want to pinch yourself, and you're not sure if this is just a dream. Yeah. But I'd say yesterday, before they announced it at Honors, a couple hours before, all our class of Hall of Famers, you know, got into a room. So Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, Roger Craig.
I mean, they're all good. Trav, you got to tell us.
Dude, we're sitting there. We got a front row seat to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we're seeing everybody come out. You're the last thing on. He taps me on the arm. He's like, dude, this is a great class. I'm like, yeah, Jason, it's the Hall of Fame. Did you expect to not know anyone they were saying?
But how many first ballot guys? Like, I don't know. It does feel like a special class.
I would say this. I don't know the last time you actually went and looked at each class of Hall of Famers.
It's been a while
since they started doing this.
Yeah, okay.
But literally every class, it's almost like each one is like, whoa, that was a great class. Whoa,
seriously.
Like that was a great. I mean, every one of them, it just makes you realize just how elite it is. And I think that the feeling last night after we were called onto the stage, and then all the Hall of Famers start matriculating out of the crowd and coming up on stage. And
Absolutely.
It's like this indoctrination, like, welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, wow.
Man.
So do you go in? I know you retire as a certain franchise usually. Do you go into the Hall of Fame as a specific one?
Organization?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's Saints, obviously.
Hey!
No
that
question.
was the one thing that was
you already know.
Nothing against Fouts, but that was a little thing that was surprising to me. Is there like a personal connection there? Like, why Chargers and not like a former Saint?
So he was one of the first guys that I spoke with when I was drafted, was Dan Fouts. Obviously his legendary status.
Did he tell you to just throw to the biggest guy on the field or what, dude?
Yeah.
He had Kelce Winslow Sr., dude.
Exactly.
He had like the beginning of like this era of tight end.
Oh man,
sure.
Charlie Joyner and Chandler, and they were some dudes. He's been great to me ever since I signed, first signed in the league. And obviously a Charger legend. Ironically, that Coryell offense was one that we ran when I was first in San Diego.
Yeah.
So there was a connection there too.
Awesome.
So that was pretty unique.
Give me all the ins and outs, man. That's awesome, dog.
You're going in with a division rival, Luke Kuechly. Did he give you as many headaches as he did to me trying to figure? He was calling out our plays. Like, I'm like, what are you stealing this? How are you this good at knowing what we're about to do?
I'll be honest. I think, again, and you never know how the class is going to shake out, but especially Larry Fitzgerald and Luke Kuechly. Like, I've always had a real special bond with Larry.
He's the best, dude.
Funny because you see each other from afar. I know he was never going to get out of Arizona, and I was certainly never going to leave New Orleans. The only time we had a chance to play together was in Pro Bowls. I mean, how awesome are Pro Bowls? You have a chance to be with these guys that you just have so much respect for.
I still remember you calling out the mic at one of my Pro Bowls. I'm freaking Drew Brees is out here. Yeah,
man. Bro, you're wired, man. I only know one way. We're trying to win, too, right? Yeah, I know.
He's like, where are we sliding?
I think Jason, just take it easy, man. I got it, bro.
You got it,
Jason. Lee, let's go over here.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll get you a double on Aaron Donald over here real quick. No, that was so. Like, my first Pro Bowl touchdown pass was Larry Fitzgerald. Like, we've had a bond our whole career,
sweet,
and really leaned on each other for a lot of things. And then, honestly, Luke Kuechly, best defensive player I've ever played against.
Seriously.
And he was in the division, obviously. And, like, so when I truly say, like, an iron sharpens iron, guys that just make you better, like, because you have to be. Like, you knew going into that game, like, I have to be my absolute best against this dude.
Yeah.
And so he just brought out the best in me, in us.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate that about him. Such an unbelievable competitor. But, like, off the field, like, the most genuine dude. Like, I've spent more time with him over the last 24 hours.
Cincinnati.
I'm like, dude, I love this guy.
Ohio ball players, man. There's something about them.
I know, exactly, right? Cincinnati,
I like my Ohio ball players and my Texas gunslingers.
Yeah,
baby.
you know what I'm saying?
Know how it goes.
Texas cattle ranchers.
The biggest surprise with Larry Fitzgerald to me was that he found a pair of corduroy pants that fit him. I mean, that thing, he is thick on the bottom half now.
Bro, like, I guarantee you, he can move to the tight end room right now and still go for fucking 1,000 yards.
Solid genetics.
10 touchdowns, exactly.
Solid genetics.
No, Larry's the man. What I still remember, my first college experience was Larry Fitzgerald playing Notre Dame over in Pitt, man.
Yeah, making freakish catches.
Watching him in, like, just like routes on air or pack and go, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, man, this dude is the fucking man. It was before.
I agree. Same thing. Yeah,
you could just tell it was just like, man, this dude's
different.
Got it.
Different.
Man.
But even honestly, the play that I remember the most from his career, which is stupid, that he probably will hate that I say this, the James Harrison interception in the Super Bowl.
Effort.
Yes.
He is like completely out of the play.
Yeah.
Running out of bounds, like over woods and tree trunks and like, doing anything he can to try and make this tackle. I'm just like, dude, that's amazing. Like, that is the effort and like what makes somebody different. Like, who is going to give that amount of effort, and not just like a special teams guy who's has to kind of do that to survive. A Hall of Fame level, like, best receiver of all time.
Actually, when the class was announced, I started just reflecting on all the plays that I could remember all these guys making.
Yeah.
Obviously, that Super Bowl stood out. And we've all had those moments where, look, you're in a game like that, there's a ton of exceptional players on the field.
Yes.
But then there's those times where, like, one just rises above the rest.
Yeah.
And you're just like, for this entire game, that is the best. That game was a moment like that.
Yeah.
Where you, like that play. Mm-hmm. And then the one where they took the lead at the end before the Steelers went down.
Yeah.
It's like two man, and he beats the corner inside on like just a little delay route, splits the safeties and gone. You're like, this dude is the best player on the field.
Seriously.
Right?
It felt like he had
he was still young in his career.
Game.
I mean, he was only like year 5 maybe, right? 08?
Something like that. Yeah, he was young.
What a guy, man.
So we did have a potential Hall of Famer come out of retirement this year. Was there a call when Bo Nix went down?
You had to.
Dude, I would say I've had some conversations. and I've had some moments.
Yeah.
I've had some moments.
Yeah.
I would say this, like, my body feels great. My mind sharp as ever.
Yeah.
Shoulder, wrist, not having it. And like, to the point where there was a moment this year where I was drinking a tequila, and something happened where I thought there might be a chance I would play that week. And I literally switched to water, and I started thinking about going to bed early and getting up the next day and like getting my body nice and loose and going out and throwing to see if I could even pull it off.
Yeah.
And boy, I was like so mentally right, got up, got the body loose, went out there, grabbed the ball, threw a couple. My 13-year-old son was catching for me.
Let's go.
And it was not there. I would have been able to like break that glass 10 feet away.
Well, you got to take the Toradol first. You forgot the Toradol.
I was going to say, the good stuff was not in the system.
Yeah, right.
The good stuff was not in the system. But no, it's honestly, look, I really think I'd still be playing if the shoulder and the wrist wouldn't have started to let me down.
Sure.
I started to lose quite a bit of pop, and it's one of those things where you know where to go with the ball, but can I get it from point A to point B in the amount of time that it needs to get there in order to be effective? And unfortunately,
fuck yeah,
that left.
Man, oh man. Dude, you played with some fucking legends in the tight end room. Obviously, Tonio, Jimmy Graham, the years that I was turning into a tight end in college were you and Jimmy just going absolutely nuts, man. And that really changed those years with like Gage, Jimmy being those basketball guys and like really being able to be that mismatch. And then you obviously Gronk you throw into the fold. Do you feel that Jimmy, I don't know, I don't want to say this the wrong way, I feel like he's never gotten the true respect that he deserves at the tight end position? Like, I want to give Jimmy some love because what he's done to change the game, I don't think is talked about enough.
Okay.
I agree.
And
1,000%. Jimmy was so rare. I mean, here was a guy who played 4 years of basketball in Miami, right? Had a fifth year of eligibility, and it was just like, I played a little high school football. I'll go out here and see if I can, run some red zone fades, which I think he caught 11 balls, 7 tutties his fifth year senior year.
What's that?
And at that point, look, I credit Sean, I credit our scouting department. Like, those guys had a knack for seeing like some raw talent, but even seeing through that to like, this guy, once we polish him up and like get him in this system, and he's going to be exceptional. So we brought Jimmy in as a 3rd round pick in 2011. We had Shockey.
Oh,
Shockey now.
Yeah.
That was Trav's favorite.
Dude, you already know, man. You want to talk about attitude, man.
Yeah. And we were doing some interesting things with Shock that honestly, like we did with Gates in San Diego. But it was kind of like this, at any time, just displace him, split him out to the single receiver side. We had this whole system of signals. We try to do it in man situations, so we got some favorable matchup, and then we just go to town over here, right?
Yeah, I can relate.
That became Jimmy's thing. But man, Jimmy was just a gazelle. He was just he was a deer at first. It was like, man, he could run,
but he had
his hips and
coming out.
Well, no, he had an edge. He had something to prove, like chip on his shoulder, big time. But it was a great first year opportunity for him because Shockey was the guy, and then Jimmy was kind of like the bring him in certain situations and just bring him along.
Oh yeah.
And by the time 2011 came around, it was like he was ready. And then that was his breakout year.
We're
literally
him and Gronk,
bro.
Like, you already know.
Going into that last season, that last game, we were playing Carolina. I can't remember who New England was playing, but they were fighting for, I think it was most yards by a tight end
and touchdowns.
I think
they both ended up with over 15 that year. It's crazy.
But literally, like, from drive to drive, it was, I'd come over the sideline and be like, where's Gronk? Like, he's 10 yards ahead. Okay, well, let's run. That's high corner to Jimmy, right?
That's a good teammate right there, baby.
Unfortunately, our game ended first, so Gronk got the record. But literally, it was one of those, like...
I wonder if they were doing the same thing.
Oh, totally. Yeah. They're keeping track of it, right? For sure.
That's the best, man.
Honestly, the most unfortunate thing, and literally, when I say, like, Jimmy and I cried on the phone together when we traded him.
Man.
Cried on the phone together. He was with us for 5 years. And could you imagine what 5 more years would have been like?
Right.
At a point where we were just so, like, the chemistry was so strong, right?
You guys created a whole new play. Like, there was like the goal line fade, and then there was the Jimmy Graham just fucking throw it to him. This dude would literally just go and post up like in the paint. Yeah. And it was like it was a fade, but it wasn't a fade. It was more just like a jump ball.
We had 5 different back shoulders.
That's crazy. Right? It's crazy.
It was the DB's here back shoulder, or I'm just going to stand in front of him and you throw it up. There's the bottom line is, if you're 6'7", 270, there is nobody. A dude could be standing right next to you. There's still a place I can throw the ball to you.
Man, my 270 looks way different than that 270.
This does bring up something to me that I do want to... I have never understood why doesn't every team just have one guy that's a monster that is a guaranteed touchdown? Like, think about like the tush push, right? It's a guaranteed first down every time you're first down. There are so many goal line stands throughout a year that happen inside the 5. If you could every time know you got a 6'10", like, just get an NBA guy that wasn't quite good enough in the NBA and just throw him a jump ball. I don't know. Is it harder than that? Am I making this?
Yes, it's way harder than what you're making it. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Well, I don't. That's why I'm asking. I'm asking two guys that would know. I don't think it looks that hard.
And maybe have him rush on kick block too, so he can be, he's got a little special teams value.
There you go.
That's all you need.
Just bring Shaq out of retirement and throw him the ball. He's still going to catch it, right?
But to your point, I think there was I think Gates revolutionized the game in a lot of ways.
100%.
I mean, really before that, you were Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham, kind of basketball guys that came over and applied a lot of that skill set to what they were doing as tight ends. Jimmy was all heart, man, all heart, and I really wish we could have had 5-7 more years together.
Yeah, I know. I had to show him some love, dog.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So Hall of Fame, but it wasn't always roses, right? It wasn't always the easiest thing. Mentioned earlier, walk on at Purdue. Early in your career, like a lot of turmoil coming from the Chargers to the Saints. What was that like? Like a lot of people, you had the injury and what's going on with the shoulder, all this stuff. What was that like for you at that moment?
The injury was devastating in San Diego because I really thought there was a moment where I thought I wouldn't play football again. I mean, I had been through a lot with the Chargers. I got drafted there in the second round to back up Doug Flutie, which was the best thing that ever could have happened to me because Doug Flutie was my style of quarterback. We were both undersized, right? He was 5'9.5", $180, right? But the guy had played 22 years of professional football.
Right.
4 different leagues.
He was Mahomes before Mahomes from the perspective of like the niftiness.
Magic.
And just making it happen outside. Yeah. And we would do a lot of under center stuff because it was kind of a bit more pro style, 2-back, I-back field, running power, running different weak lead schemes. And,
you got LT,
and then the play action, LT, right. And Lorenzo Neal as our fullback, right?
Dude.
Low.
Yeah, man.
And Doug Flutie at times would backpedal a 7-step drop from under center. When's the last time you saw that? This is like Fran Tarkenton stuff, But like he was just an old school dude.
Yeah.
He did push-ups, sit-ups, ran hills, and played basketball. That was his like strength and conditioning program, and just threw the ball, just played ball. He was like backyard ball.
Hell yeah.
But he was the epitome of, I got to get the ball out a little bit sooner than normal. Just put a little air under it, right? Throw that little 2-ball, man, right? Just lay it over the wheel in front of the safety to that end cut before he's out of the grade. So like his level of timing and anticipation was second to none. So I learned so much just from observation and watching him. Had a chance to compete against him my second year, won the job, and then he backed me up for 3 years after that. Now I was benched 3 times in those 3 years with Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah.
The first one I deserved it. The second one kinda. The third one I didn't think I deserved it, and I was pissed. Yeah. And had a knockdown, drag-out, screaming match with Marty Schottenheimer on the sideline in December in Pittsburgh, and then in the hallway after, and then in his office the next day.
No.
Holy cow.
And at the end of the day, like I knew this. Marty was always making decisions that he thought were in the best interest of the team, even if I didn't agree with him.
Yeah.
But I love the man, and he developed me in so many ways, character, leadership. But I love and respect that man so much. But finally kind of got to the point where through those ups and downs and through that adversity, I earned the starting spot, made my first Pro Bowl in 2004, kind of team goes to the playoffs. Even though they drafted Phillip Rivers, Flutie was still there. Like I was the guy, and I'd kind of established myself. And then last game of the season in 2005, going into an off season where I didn't have a contract, but I was hoping to get like that long-term commitment.
Yep.
And I go down with a dislocated throwing shoulder, right? Literally arm stuck like this, walking off the field. Damn. I get to the sideline, they pop that thing back in, and I'm just going, man, I'm probably never going to put a Charger uniform on again. And it's like, I mean, I play football again. Some doctors told me I had a 25% chance of coming back and playing again.
Man.
So like just absolutely devastating. And yet, I mean, tested me in so many ways, but also I think strengthened just my faith in the unseen and unknown that God's got a plan for me, and
that's awesome, man.
It may not be in San Diego, and that's okay. I just have to trust it, and that's how New Orleans opportunity came along.
No doubt.
Sailor from there. Dude, do you think the QBs in today's game are on a real short leash? Does it feel like that, or do you think it's fair still that you gotta show up when you're called upon?
I think we do most of them a disservice. I mean, look, there's high expectations, right? And exactly, I think it's the coaches are on short leashes. The fan bases want a winner now.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Sam Darnold and everything that he's overcome. I think it's a highly inspirational, story and journey. And there's a few others like that. Baker Mayfield, kind of a similar situation. I think there's so much to play in this position, as you know.
That's why I got out of there, dude.
former Q.
Exactly.
Always ready for the double pass.
Whenever.
Always ready for the double pass. So,
like you said, I don't know if I can get it there anymore, so I'll just lateral. I can still pitch at 5 yards. I'm good.
Yeah. I think there's, in most cases, too, these high draft picks are going to teams that obviously have a lot of holes to fill as well.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think, who was it? Aikman was saying.
Aikman had a very good quote this year. A lot of these organizations are failing these QBs more than they're failing these organizations.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, when you play the game long enough, you can pinpoint it. You can see which ones that are, maybe getting that disturbance that you're talking about, and others that are just, need to make those strides.
I would say this. I mean, look, I sat for a year behind Flutie. So valuable for me. Mahomes sat for a year behind Alex Smith. I'm sure. So valuable for him. Brady sat for a year behind Bledsoe. True. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. Jordan Love sat for 3 years behind him. There is something to sitting for a period of time, because you will glean a ton. And then when it is your time, a little more of like feeling like you've earned it too, and this is my opportunity. I've been preparing for this opportunity. Here we go. As opposed to, if you're going to throw a guy in the fire right away, man, there's going to be ups and downs. You just got to be ready for it, and you got to be patient with it.
No doubt. And I think it's also like when you go into a room with a guy that's been doing it for a long time, so many of these guys, like the coach is one thing, but seeing a player playing the position and how they prepare. Like I do remember this vividly. When we drafted Carson Wentz, they purposely went and got Chase Daniels because he was with you in New Orleans, and like they were showing Carson how you prepared.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to get in at 6 a.m. We're going to do this. This is how Drew prepared, and like all that. Like it's so important to have that perspective of it for some of these young Qs as well.
I have two theories around when a quarterback's going to be ready.
Yeah.
Number one is having a great veteran backup or veteran starter who starts in front of you for a period of time before you then have the opportunity, which is kind of what we just talked about.
Right.
The second is, I think you need roughly 50 high-level starts before you are really like there and ready.
Yeah.
Those high-level starts could be college.
Okay.
Like plenty of times we've seen this potential drafted, but they only had 15 college starts. Well, if that's the case, it's going to take them 3 years before they're ready. I'm just telling you, right? So then start looking at the guys like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, undersized, all these things, like 50 college starts at Iowa State. So I can tell you, most of the times when they step foot on the field, they were the underdog. Right? He was having to play.
He was throwing a lot of balls,
they were having to punch well above their fighting weight.
Oklahoma, Texas still in the conference, everything.
Right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he comes in and you're like, okay, he's got some experience. Like he's got something to him. Hence why maybe this success happened a little bit quicker. And he's playing for a really good team with some good players, right? There's some other examples of that. But yeah, I think it's the number of starts really has a lot to do with their readiness.
Yeah.
I think to step into that role too.
Okay. I like it.
But I got Chase Daniels making a hell of a fucking living in the NFL. Huh?
We don't need to come on, stop.
All three of us played with him, dude.
I know. I love Chase. Chase lives down the street from me in San Diego right now. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I got a bunch of Chase balls. I think the last stat I saw, the most money earned per snap in the NFL than any man in history.
I've heard that same stat. I think it's got to be.
Chase, well done, bro.
Well done. Hacked it. Hacked the system.
Hey, but to his credit, always fucking ready. Always ready, always prepared. First one in, last one out guy.
Dude, you talk about like chip on the shoulder. I messed with Chase. I'm like, dude.
Him at Mizzou was fucking fun to watch. Him and J-Mac.
Yeah, I was like, I've never seen a quarterback in the NFL shaped like high school nose guard, bro. But you did it. Bro, you did it. Huh? You made it.
Oh my God.
You're here. You did it.
That's great. That is great.
Chase the best. I love you, Chase.
That's so good.
Back to your career. You go from the Chargers and you end up in New Orleans. First of all, how close were you to ending up with Miami Dolphins?
Miami, yeah, close. I mean, on paper, like that was an obvious decision. It was Miami all the way. Miami had Nick Saban. They had just come off a 9-7 season where they won like the last 7 in a row. So they kind of had it figured out. Defense was lights out. Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor.
Oh yeah,
Saban. Their offense, I loved all their coaching staff. Mike Mularkey was the OC. Jason Garrett, quarterback coach. Yeah. Hudson Houp was their O-line coach, who had been our O-line coach the year before when we had won the division. Loved HUD. They were running the same offense that we were running.
This week's podcast episode opened with familiar stories about the upcoming NFL season, but the atmosphere quickly shifted when Jason Kelce unexpectedly asked his younger brother about the studio rumors circulating among fans. With a half-joking, half-serious smile, Travis initially tried to evade the question. However, under his brother's relentless questioning, he finally admitted Well, yes, I was in the studio, and yes, I contributed vocals to Opalite. It was a very special moment. That short statement was enough to make Jason burst into laughter, and the production team behind the scenes couldn't hide their excitement. Within minutes of the podcast airing, the phrase Travis XT Taylor Opalite had climbed to the top of trending topics on many social media platforms. Opalite, a love song with special meaning. According to Travis, Opalite is not just a new song in Taylor's music project, but also holds a very special meaning for both of them. It's a song about light reflecting in the most fragile moments, Travis shared. Taylor wrote it during a very emotional period when she suggested I try recording a spoken word section and the backing vocals. I was really moved. A close source revealed that Taylor wanted to surprise fans by including Travis's voice in the climactic final section, where the lyrics shift from gentle to powerful, symbolizing companionship and trust and love. From the field to the recording studio, the idea of an NFL star entering a professional recording studio is something not everyone expected. However, Travis said he felt no pressure